everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and you are joining me for a solo episode. Today, we are going to discuss 5 ways to immediately improve your life. Now, on the last episode, we talked about 1 way to optimize your health. Make sure to go back and listen to that if you haven't listened to that already. It was the episode right before this one. But today, I wanted to give you 5 things that you can immediately implement in order to improve your life. Now, before we dive in really quickly, I just did want to mention that we do have the Evolve Retreat for 2022 happening May 12th through 15th. And any remaining tickets are going to be in the link down below. So if you guys don't know what it is, I will also link the podcast explaining it, which has a video at the end of it showing the last retreat that I did, which was pretty awesome. So if you guys want to learn more about it, the links are down below. I would love to have you here. I cannot wait to have a whole group of you guys here in Houston, Texas with me. And then the last announcement is just announcing FitCon Utah. I will be there the weekend of April 22 to 23rd with the Transcend team. So I really hope to see you guys there. I hope that if you're in the area or if you were traveling for the expo that you will come out and see me and come say what's up and talk about real life things in person. You know, I love getting to meet you guys in person because on the podcast, I talk about a lot of deep topics. You guys know that. So oftentimes when you guys come up, we kind of just like dive right in. You know, most of the time we skip all the small talk and we're like, let me tell you about my soul's expression over the 6 months. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, tell me, let's dive right in there. I'm with you. Speaking of, I get DMs from you guys pretty consistently, and I am so thankful for that because they always come right when I need them. I swear. It's the best thing, honestly, and I appreciate that you guys feel led to share your story with me. So I did want to share a recent one that I got, and I'm going to keep her name anonymous just for her own privacy, but I wanted to share really quickly just part of her message. She said, I want to share that your podcast has been one source that's helped me to see that God or spirit is present as I'm searching for my own faith. There's been such crazy coincidences happening that I can't ignore ever since I DM'd you. For example, after I DM'd you, I got an interview for a job the next day that I've been wanting to move up to. And yesterday, after listening to your podcast on fulfillment, I got called for an interview again, literally today, within a different area, hiring for the same position. Today at the gym, as I didn't want to finish my last set and I pouted getting to the machine and setting it up, literally as I went for the first rep, the light above my head, which I didn't even realize was off, it turned on. And it just showed to me that to be fulfilled, I have to continue to put my all through everything. The light turning on, I swear, was a sign that I just need to continue with where I'm going and to trust in myself and God above that what's best for me, even though the path may feel rough and the journey is rough, that how I experience it is what's most important. I hope you have a great day and week, and thank you for shining your light through your word. Thank you so much for that podcast. For that feedback on the podcast and for sharing your story with me. I think, you know, and I replied to her, I really think it's so clear that God is revealing to himself to her in such specific ways. And that's the thing is like, even the most simple, simplest phrase or simplest thing that God could say to us, when it's specific to us and it kind of like hits the target right on the bullseye for us, it may seem like a simple thing to others, right? Like the light turning on right before she starts her set to her was, so impactful. And to people listening who may not have been there, may not have the same experience, they may not realize how impactful it is. But I think that's what's beautiful is you can know full well that when it hits your heart like that, and it feels like it hit the bullseye, that is 100% God speaking to you. So trust that, believe in that, and listen to what it is that he's showing you and telling you. I think it's amazing that you got such incredible perspective just based off of that, to know that as you're sitting there, kind of dreading the set, you're not wanting to do it, that it's like you get this message that shows you that in order to be fulfilled, you have to give your fullest effort. And I really do believe that. And I've experienced that a lot in my life when I am showing up and I'm giving my absolute best and I'm practicing excellence in everything that I do. The fulfillment is unmatched. So thank you for sharing that. And I hope you don't mind that I shared that anonymously with people. I think it can be really encouraging. And a lot of people have shared that something on my podcast has helped them along their own faith journey. And I'm really thankful that I've been able to share anything that has helped you on your journey, because it is such an individual journey. And I think faith and God and coming into this for yourself is something that looks different for everybody. My experience may not be your experience. My full beliefs may not be your full beliefs, And I think sometimes people try to put people in boxes. I feel that people have even put me in a box at a certain point, I'm in a lot of people's boxes and random boxes that I never have ever put myself in. And so I think it's kind of sometimes it can be a weird thing. Sometimes it can feel, really vulnerable to talk about these things. But what I've learned to do is to understand that we all have different experiences, different perspectives, different beliefs, different understandings, and it's simply just to have a respect for that. And so even when I look at somebody else, I really try my hardest not to put them in a box either, right? If they say, I believe in God, I'm not going to assume that I know everything about their beliefs or assume that they subscribe to one set of religious practices just because they say that. I think that's really small-minded. And I think that when I experience people do that to me, I'm able to recognize that for what it is and really not take it personally. So I just wanted to mention that because I know that as people, are opening up to me and talking about this, I want you to know that wherever you're at in your journey is beautiful. It's not just okay, it's accepted. And I encourage you just to simply take the next step, whatever that looks like for you. Don't allow other people's opinions or judgments or the boxes that they want to throw on you or labels they want to throw on you. Don't allow that to hinder your journey or to hinder you taking the next step for yourself. Be fully who you are. Be authentic in the good and in the bad, and just simply take that next step for yourself, because honestly, your faith journey is going to be one of the most transformational journeys that you will ever go on. And I don't think that it really ends. I think it just continues to deepen and widen and develop and get better over time. So knowing that, it can allow you to take the pressure or the stress or the anxiety of what everyone else is going to think or believe, or what do I believe, right? There's so many questions that people have when they are starting this journey for themselves. And I would just say, don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed with the influx of opinions and thoughts and belief patterns and religions and practices. Just stop all of that. Just take a deep breath and seek with your entire heart to know God, the creator of the universe. And I believe that if you simplify it to that he will meet you. You will meet him. You will have an experience with him that is undeniable to you, an undeniable knowing that God is real. And then simply keep pursuing that relationship, just like a friendship that you have to cultivate. You got to text them, you got to call them, you got to have multiple points of contact with them. You have to slowly build that relationship over time. The same thing is true with faith. And I think it's important that you just allow yourself that freedom to simply take whatever the next step is for you. Don't feel pressure. Don't feel outside judgment. Anytime that tries to come on you, just say, no, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is pursuing an individual relationship with God. And this is what that looks like for me right now. And just own it. And also, sometimes that judgment can come from ourselves. Sometimes that judgment can come from our own ways of thinking, our own shame we want to put on ourselves, our own judgment, whatever it is. And I just want you to know that those thought patterns are not helping you to develop and deepen your relationship with God. Oftentimes, they're actually going to hold you back from taking that step, because you're going to feel feelings of not feeling worthy, of not feeling good enough. And there is the reality of maybe you coming into the awareness and knowing that maybe certain actions and decisions you've made in your life aren't in alignment with where God is calling you or what he has called you to be. And that's real, but you can take ownership and responsibility for that without living in judgment and shame for that. So really recognize the difference between that, and don't allow yourself to shame yourself or to judge yourself so much that you shy away from the one thing that can give you life like you've never known it. Life, fulfillment, joy, peace, satisfaction. You can have loving presence. You can literally love the journey of your life. You'll get to this place where you don't have to get anywhere in order to be happy anymore. You'll actually have joy in the present moment. You'll actually find peace in moments that people would think you would never have peace in, because that's the life that you actually get when you take this faith journey of developing a real one-on-one relationship with God. And again, I'm not talking about religion, and I'm not talking about just being religious or having these religious practices that are empty. I'm talking about the real thing, the authentic thing, which really requires the most vulnerable part of you, the good parts of you, the parts of you that need working on, the parts of you that need the ultimate potter to come and, chip away at this clay, right? As we go throughout life, there are different life experiences and things that mold and shape us into who we are. They mold and shape our thought patterns, our beliefs, our actions in the world. And sometimes it's not in alignment with what we were actually created to be. And that's okay. That's a journey that I think every single person goes on, literally everyone. So welcome to the human race, and welcome this transformation. Welcome the awareness that where you've been is not where God wants you to go. Sometimes it's a hard truth, a hard reality to really take in. But if you'll be willing to do it, if you'll be willing to look at it, you can actually transform from what you were, into who God has called you to be, which will be the most satisfactory, most fulfilling, most joyful, most loving, most incredible place that you've ever been in your life. So I'm here to tell you that facing the hard reality, facing the truth, acknowledging where you've been, that those are all important steps. They're necessary steps, and it can be hard, but it's worth it. So I just really wanted to mention that it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. So keep going along your journeys. I'm just so happy to hear that you guys are open to taking your own journey, that you're taking these steps in your faith and in your spirituality. And I encourage you again, just to do whatever is the right next step for you. All right, let's dive into today's episode. So today I want to share with you 5 ways to immediately improve your life. Sometimes people think that in order to improve their lives, they have to make these massive changes, right? That they have to, get this really expensive program, or that they need this exact guide, or, all these things. When in reality, if you would just do these very simple things, which I understand to actually execute on these things, it can be difficult for people. But at the root of it, it's very simple changes that you can make in your life that will drastically improve your life. So number 1, the first thing that will drastically improve your life is immediately removing toxicity and the life-sucking things that are around you. Now, this could be many different things. It could be people, it could be environments, it could be what you're consuming. So you need to have the hard conversation. You need to quit the job. You need to stop hanging out with those friends, and you need to get out of that relationship. You know who you are. So after you have removed these toxic things, intentionally decide how you're going to live your life. Consume something because it makes you a better version of you. For example, consume a podcast that encourages you, uplifts you, inspires you, gives you ideas and motivation and drive for your life, rather than sitting and watching a crime, Netflix documentary, which is giving you anxiety and fear. There's a lot of people that say that they really like those things, but they don't stop to assess how it's affecting their life. And you think that it's giving you anxiety and fear just while you're watching it, but you don't realize that anxiety and fear is actually it's an energy, it's a frequency, and we could get spiritual on that as well. But you're inviting these things into your life. You're inviting anxiety and fear into your life. So if you're somebody that really struggles with a lot of anxiety, fear, depression, worries in your life, maybe look at the things that you're consuming, because I guarantee you there's a direct correlation. Obviously, there's other things that play into that as well, and I'm not going into that on this show, but this is definitely an area of your life to look at. So remove the toxicity, remove the life-sucking things and people away from your life. And again, I know that this could be very difficult to execute on, right? It's the person that is in a relationship with this person that they have grown to really love. But if they're being really honest, this relationship is breaking them down in every single way. It's literally sucking the life out of them. and you don't want it to end because you want it to work out. Nobody gets into a relationship hoping that it ends, hoping that it doesn't work out, right? Hoping that it turns toxic. But the reality is sometimes that's where you find yourself for whatever reason. And when you're in that kind of scenario, I'm telling you, you have got to get out of that as soon as possible. Do not wait 6 months. Do not wait a year. Do not wait 2 years. Don't wait 10 years. But guess what? Even if it has been a year, 2 years, 10 years, it's never too late. It is always the right time for you to choose the option of life. And I say the option of life because when you're in that kind of scenario, the highest version of you is literally dying. Day by day, the highest version of you is dead inside. So choose life. The way that you choose life is by doing the hard thing, making that really difficult transition in your life. I'm here to tell you that transition is worth every ounce of pain that you will go through. I promise. The sooner that you can remove this toxicity and these, toxic habits and beliefs and things that you have inside of your mind and your heart and the habits you've cultivated, the sooner that you remove these things, the sooner you can start to experience life, like true life, a live and vibrant life that's so colorful. So remove these things from your life as soon as humanly possible. The next thing, the second thing you can do to drastically improve your life is to nourish your body. I know it sounds simple, but guys, you got to nourish your body with foods that make you feel alive from the inside out. I know the Doritos taste good, but the Doritos are literally just going inside of your body and sitting there. They are not doing anything for your cells, for your brain, for your energy, for your focus. So maybe for a period of time, you could choose, you know what? I love myself enough that I'm going to nourish myself. So when you look at your food options and you're looking at your food in front of you saying, what are these foods doing for me? And look, you don't even have to have a wide variety of knowledge or information on foods and how it affects your hormones. You don't have to get so detailed and crazy like that. Literally look at your food and ask if your food is alive or if it's like just these products that you're putting inside of your body that end up sitting there for way longer than you probably even know, right? Like you don't have to overthink it at all. Literally just look at your food and ask yourself, does this make me feel better? Does it make me alive from the inside out? Does it give me good energy? Am I feeling better afterwards? Always just kind of assess yourself. Okay, after that meal, did I feel worse? Did I feel like I was bloated? Did I feel lethargic? Did I feel less energy? Did I feel like I had to have a nap? Or did I feel nourished and still quick and agile and empowered and strengthened for my workout, for my day? Was I mentally clear and focused, right? Really look at your food, guys. The water piece. This again is so simple, but so many people are not drinking enough water. And truthfully, if you would hydrate yourself for let's just say 7 days in a row, guys, that you actually hydrated yourself in the way that you should, you would be shocked at how something so simple as hydrating your body and hydrating, everything from the inside out, how that would impact a lot of your life. You will have better energy. You will have better brain clarity and focus throughout the day. You will be able to move your body. You won't be as stiff. There are so many benefits just from being hydrated. So hydrate, guys. Get your water in. If you're listening right now, grab that water jug and drink, drink, drink. And then the last one on this is consistent daily movement. So to nourish your body, get your food in, hydrate yourself, and get consistent daily movement. Sometimes people think that in order to take care of themselves that they have to hit this crazy intense workout every single day. And the truth is sometimes you're not able to get that in every single day, right? And a lot of the time people are like, okay, if I'm not on my program, then it's an off day and I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix, or I didn't make it to the gym, so I'm just going to completely, veg out and do nothing. No, get up and make consistent daily movement a priority for you. Go for a walk. Hopefully there's sun shining and you can get out in the sun even for 10 minutes on a lunch break. If you can get out and get into daily movement, and honestly, bonus points if you can do it outside in nature. I know some people live in a place where it's Antarctica and it's miserable. So maybe I don't suggest that for that. Maybe for that, I suggest an inside treadmill or something. But if you can get out in nature, guys, it adds another element. There are so many days where I'll be working nonstop and I'm like, okay, I've got to get outside and take the boys for a walk, right? And I take the boys for a walk and all of a sudden I'm not staring at a camera anymore. I'm not staring at my computer screen. I'm not looking at my phone. I look up and I see beautiful trees and I'm listening to the birds and the sunshine and I'm noticing the beautiful things that are around me. And what's happening is I'm becoming really, really present. And in that present moment, there's like this sense of relief from the craziness and the busyness of the day. And not just that, but I'm getting my activity in, right? The boys, my dogs, the two Frenchies, Vinny and Frankie, which are the cutest little babies in the entire world. If you're a dog mom and you don't say that, you're not really a dog mom. But they're getting their movement in, so they're happy and they're smiling, and their smiles make me happy, and exercise dogs are happier, better, well-behaved dogs, right? So if you're struggling with that, that's a tip. Make sure your dog is well exercised. They will be better. But truly, guys, nourishing your body is something that is so simple. We all have control over it. We can all do a better job at these things. And if you were to focus on these things, your life would drastically improve. The third thing, and this is kind of how we started the podcast unintentionally. I didn't really plan to go on that little tangent that I went on. But the third thing that I believe will really drastically improve your life is spiritual food. Get out of your body and get into spirit. We are spiritual beings that are having this human experience. We are not this like earth suit that we see on the surface level. We are at the core, at the root of us, this beautiful expression of love, this beautiful energy, this beautiful spirit. And oftentimes people don't even have the awareness that we are a spiritual being. They literally think that I am my arms and legs and face. They think like this is me, right? They're so attached to this outward surface level identity, when in reality, the most beautiful parts of you are the expression of your soul and of your spirit. So I really encourage you to get out of your body and into spirit by practicing being fully present. I think a lot of the times we're in this go, 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 society that we never take time to be fully present. Our mind is always elsewhere. We have a million thoughts going on in our mind. We scroll on social media and we're happy, and then we're sad, and then we're frustrated, and then we're all over again. And then we're in love, and then we're heartbroken by watching other people experience their lives, right? And so because of that, it's like we've created this rotating, circling thoughts, emotions that we can never get out of. Even when we turn off the phone, we're still experiencing all of these things that honestly, we were never meant to go through those array of emotions that quickly. It's desensitizing us. It is disconnecting us. We're disconnected from our own thoughts and feelings. We're disconnected from our own beliefs and patterns. And it really is creating such a disconnect that I think is making it even harder for people to connect spiritually. I believe that people are struggling to, one, be present and connect to themselves spiritually. But then two, I think it's making it harder for them to connect to their higher power, to connect to God, to connect to source, however it is that you talk about it, that you experience what I know to be God, right? And I think it's really important to, number one, practice being present and tune into inner awareness. There are different daily practices that can help you to do this. I have really enjoyed breath work and guided meditation as kind of the first step before I start my spiritual practices. And these could be, considered spiritual practices as well. But for me, I like doing these because I definitely live in that fast-paced world as well. And I'm constantly trying to slow my pace down a little bit within the busyness of my day, right? Because you can have a busy day, but have a peaceful heart posture and stance within that. And I'm always seeking to stay there, and I get out of it sometimes. And when I get out of it, breath work or something like guided meditation helps me to first and foremost get out of my mind, get out of my body, and tune into my inner awareness and spirit. And then from that place, I like to go into reading God's word or prayer or just speaking and also listening to God. Because then I'm in this position and this heart posture where I feel I'm really present and I'm really aware and I'm really attuned. I am no longer disconnected, but I'm actually connected and I'm open and able to receive. I've found that sometimes if I go from my busyness and craziness straight into prayer and trying to hear God, sometimes I'm a little bit desensitized. Other times, sure, when he speaks, he's going to speak. You're going to hear it regardless, right? But I do believe that sometimes we can desensitize ourselves to his voice and think that he's not speaking to us. when in reality, we're just so high and wired from this society and the way that our days are, scheduled out, that he's speaking and we just don't hear it. It's like he's literally right next to us telling us what we are asking for, and we can't hear it because we're so disconnected. So for me, practices like breath work, guided meditation, and things like that really help me to get out of that fast-paced society into my inner awareness. And now I'm open and ready and receptive. So for me, God has spoken to me so many different times through his word directly. Like, I will literally pray and ask for God to speak to me, and he gives me a verse and I look it up and it literally applies to exactly what it is that I'm going through. And sometimes it's literally God just being like, hey, I'm with you in this. Don't forget that this crazy thing that you're experiencing, I'm literally in it with you, and I've actually already won. So I need you to rely on me. I need you to trust me and know that I've got you. As a daughter of mine, you have victory. That is your inheritance. So sit in that and be confident in that, and don't allow the craziness and the noise and whatever's going on in the outside world. Don't give in to that, because there's a spiritual reality here that I've already taken care of you. And man, when I get those messages and those moments when I really need it, like it changes my experience of the thing that I'm going through. I could go through the thing I'm going through just stressed out and anxious and worried and losing sleep. And guys, I'm not perfect. I go through that 100% until I get a word from God that tells me exactly what it is that I need to hear, and gives me this peace and this understanding and this perspective that allows me to transcend beyond my current lived experiences into peace and into loving presence. And so that's been a really impactful thing for me in my life, is making sure that I'm in the word daily, because that's just such a way that he speaks to me. Something small that I do in order to help me, get into this like spiritual side of myself too, is I'm really intentional with what it is that I'm listening to and what I have playing on in the house. So there is this YouTube channel, and I think I've mentioned it to you guys before if you're a regular listener of the show. And the YouTube channel is called Inner Lotus Music. And it's essentially just really, really good background frequencies. So music has a frequency, and some frequencies are known as like healing frequencies, like loving frequencies, different things. And I don't read into that stuff like too much, but I do notice that when I put on these like really peaceful, it's almost like a spa style background music, right? When I put these things on, I am able to just really breathe deeply. And it really, like I said, helps me get into my inner awareness. And for me, sometimes I can't have music that have words, because if I am praying or I'm trying to hear God, sometimes I get distracted by the words, right? So putting this on allows me to really have some incredible, meditations, visualizations, conversations with God, journaling. So I love putting this on in the background. And sometimes I'll put it on in the house, even if I'm not doing any like spiritual work, even if I'm just cleaning or just around or just reading. It's just a really nice, peaceful sound. And the dogs love it. The dogs always calm down a lot when I have it on. So it's just another little thing that I figured that I would mention. Now, the fourth thing that I know will greatly impact your life in a positive way is doing something every single day that challenges you. So do something every single day that really challenges you. And I don't mean like, oh yeah, I'm going to get my workout in today and my workout's challenging, period. No, I mean something specific, even if it's something in the middle of your workout where it's like you're, really working really hard, and the number one thing that you don't want to do is burpees. And you're like, all right, this is the thing that I don't want to do. It's hard. I'm at rep 10 and I want to give up. Force yourself to go above and beyond what you think you can do. And then when you're ready to stop, push for like 5 more and tell yourself that you have to finish this. And I want you to overcome it, right? There is this energetic power. There is this momentum. There is this inner strength and this inner confidence that is released when you consistently overcome. I currently have a modality that I am practicing this with, and it is cold plunging. So I have been cold plunging every single day since getting my at-home cold plunge, which has so many incredible benefits mentally, physically, in so many different ways. But it really has allowed me to practice doing something that sucks. Like, guys, when I'm telling you this sucks, I literally asked myself, I was like, why did I get this again? Why did I decide to have this at my house, where I would literally be faced with the option every single day of, are you going to do what you say you're going to do every single day, or are you not? Right? Like, now I have to look at this, and it's this freezing tub of water, guys. It's so cold and it's not enjoyable. And I keep thinking, like, I'm going to get better at this, right? But the thing is, it's so cold that it puts your body into the fight or fight or flight response every single time. And so it's this threshold that you have to get over in order to get past the sucking part. But here's the thing, it's giving me a real tangible way to practice overcoming. And look, it doesn't have to be something as crazy as a cold plunge. I know not everybody is a psychopath like I am, and not everyone has access to that. Well, you do. You have a tub and you could put some ice in it, honestly. But it doesn't have to be something like that. It could literally be something as simple as choosing the one thing you don't want to do inside of the gym and making yourself do it. But choose something every single day that really challenges you. And guys, sometimes people, they are not able to properly assess themselves. So they're like, okay, I'll do something challenging. I'll just do a challenging workout. I'll do a good cardio session. And to me, that's literally the bare minimum. You are literally doing the bare minimum. If you really want to practice excellence, if you really want to be challenged, it has to be something that you really don't want to do. It has to be something that makes you want to quit. You have to be in the middle of it and be questioning it and questioning your life and questioning why you're doing this, right? And here's the thing, I'm encouraging you guys to do this because I know the outcome. I know that if you will truly challenge yourself to the part where you want to quit, and then you choose not to quit, and not just do you do this one time, but you practice a habit of consistently doing this, guys, there is this inner strength and power that is inside every single one of you, and it will literally be released if you do this. You could do nothing else on this list but choose to do this, and your life will start to drastically improve. So find a way to consistently overcome. It doesn't have to be the same thing every single day, or it could be the same thing every day. Totally up to you. But find something to consistently overcome. The fifth and final thing that you guys can do to improve your life drastically right now is to take time every single day to visualize the life that you want for yourself. Visualization is such an incredible, powerful tool. Our minds were literally created to have an imagination. It's really beautiful that we can have an imagination. Think about back when you were a kid and you used to visualize, and even back then it was just called like imagining, right? You were imagining all the time, and your brain was so active in this sphere, in this realm of imagination. And we have to look at like, okay, why were our minds wired this way, right? And then you can also go into looking at, people who use visualization as a tool to literally manifest a life that they want for themselves. And there's so many different thought patterns and beliefs with that. But here's the way that I take it. Like, God literally created us. He created the intricacies that make up our brain, our mind, our heart, the organs. Like human beings are incredible subjects. I really think so. And if we were created with the ability to imagine, to daydream, to visualize, and if the energy that we are focusing on, right? If the thoughts that we're focusing on are actual real things, which thoughts have been proven to be real matter, and it can really change and change the trajectory of our lives, how important would it be for us to visualize what it is that we want? But how often do people take time every single day and literally visualize the opposite of what they want? These are people that live in fear, live in anxiety. They constantly replay over and over past traumas that have happened, reliving these past traumas over and over. They think about the worst case scenario happening, and they live out future traumas that 99% of the time don't even end up happening. How crazy is that? How powerful do you think it would be if literally every single day you made this a daily practice? If every day you took time to visualize what it is that you do want for yourself? Now, I will say there is something that you might have to do in conjunction with this one, because oftentimes people they're damaged, man. They're so damaged from different things that they've been through, from limiting beliefs that they have chosen to be true simply because they believe it to be true based off of their own life experience, own life perspective. Maybe they've never been opened up or seen a different way. Maybe they don't know that a different way is possible, right? So sometimes people may have to take time to rewire your mind and to retrain your thoughts through different daily practices. There is a book I want to recommend to you guys that I have recommended times before in this podcast, if you're a regular listener. It's called Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is a neuroscientist, and she actually shows how science proves the written word of God and proves what it says about renewing your mind and not focusing on the things of the world, but actually focusing on spiritual realities and the things above, and how retraining your mind and transforming and renewing your mind is an actual reality. Like, science proves that you can do that. And it's actually written all over in the Bible as well. So I think it's cool how, the science is proving what we've known from how God has created us to function. So speaking of that, in that book, it gives you so much empowerment to understand that you can overcome things like anxiety and depression and things that have been passed down from generations. You can literally overcome them. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to live life like that. So knowing that can really empower you to really start to take victory over these things. Oftentimes people identify with these things. They identify with their anxiety, with their depression, with the, real life, diagnosis and things that they have been passed down from generations. They just accept it as theirs, when in reality, that's not how you were created. The truth is, you may have had that in your hereditary line, but you can be the person that stops that. You can be the person that doesn't pass that along to your children and to their children. And in order to do that, you have to take ownership and responsibility of understanding that you are in control of how you rewire and retrain your mind. And this book is it gives you very clear action steps of exactly how to do that. So I really encourage you that if you're listening to this, and maybe it's just bringing this to your awareness that there is a possibility of you living life without these things. I want you to know it's not just possible, it's what's in your future. It's how you were created, is to live life free from these things. So I encourage you to get the book and to start implementing those things and rewire your mind, retrain your thoughts so that you can visualize good things for yourself, because some people, they are so stuck and so limited by their own thinking that they wouldn't even know how to visualize a good life for themselves. They wouldn't even visualize a tenth of the life that was actually designed for them, that's actually in their life path already. And here's the thing that's really beautiful is I think sometimes we are given these beautiful gifts of this knowing, of this vision for our lives that we feel in our heart and our soul. And I think that when we feel it to the depths of our being, I believe it's because it's already there. I believe it's because that version of your life already exists. And if it does, go for it. Go for it with everything that you have. Pursue it and do not accept anything less. And work on every single day cultivating the mindset, the heart posture, the beliefs, the visualization that is going to align with that version of your life. So those are the 5 steps, the 5 ways that I believe you can immediately improve your life. I know that it's easier said than done for sure, but at the same time, it's not this overwhelming thing. It's not anything crazy. It's not anything that you don't already know. But how often do you listen to a podcast like this and you don't actually implement it into action? So my call to action to you guys today is to write down every single one of these things. Figure out exactly how you're going to take action in every single area, and then literally execute. If you guys will just execute on these things, I promise 6 months down the road, not even that long, guys, it's 30 days. 30 days of you doing this, you're going to notice a difference that's going to make you keep going. But guys, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you're going to look back and be like, thank God I implemented those things on that podcast. Thank God I started taking healthy, intentional steps towards a better life for myself, because now I'm in a different position that I would have never been in. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that you guys are going to consider coming to the Evolve Retreat May 12th through 15th in Houston, Texas. I cannot wait to see you guys there if you are. But without further ado, that is today's episode. Do me a favor. If today's episode was helpful or impactful to you, share it with one friend. That's the way that the podcast grows. And if you haven't taken time to rate and review the show, I would really, really appreciate if you guys would rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode of Evolve with Emily.